Hey everybody, Edo here, and I am absolutely tickled because even though Maul Peak is a standalone game sequel to Skulk Hollow, it's actually fully cross-compatible with Skulk Hollow. What that means is you can take the Foxen from Skulk Hollow and play them against the Guardians in Maul Peak. Saboso, Veblen, Trovek and Gnarl, Quagra, or you can take the Grizzar, the bears from Maul Peak, and play them versus the classic Guardians, Grak, Apoda, Tanthos, and Raptora. So like, you can do all of this stuff. It just explodes the play in both games. Even more, there's Battle for Boar, which is a mode that allows you to take both the Foxen and the Grizzar versus two Guardians from either game and have at it on a single map with up to 4 players. It's intense, there's a lot going on, but it's super cool. So this video is an overview of how you mix the games together. I'm not teaching Skulk Hollow, I'm not teaching Maul Peak, just how it does. If you're interested in Skulk Hollow, Rodney Smith has a fantastic Watch It Played on the game, and for Maul Peak, you can watch the gameplay overview I did to learn more about it specifically. This is really like, what does it mean to mix and match, and what does it mean for that other mode? But with that said, let's get to it. All right, you have Skulk Hollow, you have Maul Peak, and you want to combine the games. Super simple. In Maul Peak, you will find this additional documentation on combining the games. Honestly, if you just want to play the Foxen versus the new Guardians, or the Grizzar versus the old Guardians, really easy. There are just a few matchup clarifications that you have to read. Literally just this front page, and you are ready to go. Pick your Guardian, pick the Grizzar or the Foxen, and just start playing. It is that easy. Now, I'll talk for Battle for Boar, which has a little bit of a setup and a little bit more to it. But it's just these additional few pages. So really, if you just want to start playing and mixing, you look a quick little read, you see some interesting matchup information, and you go. As you can see, this setup is massive. and actually, you know, I had to fit it all on camera here, but you're going to have a little bit more space, hopefully, between the 4 different players. This mode supports 4 players, each of which playing one Grizzar, one bear, Guardian, but you can absolutely play this with 2 players, dual wielding the Grizzar and the Foxen versus 2 Guardians, or with 3. I've done it in all configurations. The rules are essentially the same, but there's enough going on. Playing it head to head, 2 players with 2 sides each is a lot to keep in your brain, and it's certainly cool to play with a full set of 4 players. Setup, as much as you see here, super easy. You're just going to do it exactly like you would Skulk Hollow or Maul Peak. Pull out a board, it can be either board, and then you're going to get the 2 Guardians, get their tokens, get their deck box, get their cards, and you're just going to put them out as you would. So Tanthos here has the root token in the layer, as well as Veblen has the 2 web tokens. That's their setup. On the Foxen and the Grizzar side, we have the, you pick King of War, or you pick any of the other leaders, and the Sentinel, as well as on this side we have the Druid and the Winter Beast, in this case the Northern Goat. You put your True Rage in your Rage bank, as you normally would. You set up your den board. Everyone draws the appropriate amount of cards. 4 for the Grizzar, 5 for Foxen, what do we got here? 4 for Tanthos, and 5 for Veblen. And, we get ready. Now, play is going to be Foxen, Guardian, Grizzar, Guardian. Foxen, Guardian, Grizzar, Guardian. I found super easy way to remember it is just take your deck boxes and lay it out in your turn order. That way no one forgets the order and it's handily there. Now there are a few special rules and cases, but as far as the setup is concerned, if you can manage the space, you can manage the setup. So honestly, you're already almost there. That was probably the biggest step. As I mentioned, we have the combining the games document. Next page is just setup. Look, guess what? We just went through that. It's all here. This is laid out a little bit nicer. All right, turn sequence. We just discussed it. We talked about this neat little trick. Great. Victory conditions. Okay. So, in Battle for Boar, only one victory condition needs to be met. That is to say, the moment one Guardian gets taken out, whether it's Veblen or Tanthos. The Grizzar and the bears win. In the same sense, the moment either Foxen or bear lost conditions, that the leader has been defeated or there are no bears on the board, the Grizzar on the board, the Guardians win. In the event a specific Guardian condition is met, that is to say, root tokens with Veblen and with Tanthos, and having three heroes in the lair space, those conditions can only be met on that Guardian's turn. So like a really, really good example set up here, since Tanthos can pull a unit into with the root. Let's say on Tanthos' turn, there's two heroes here, two units there, and Tanthos on their turn pulls in the third one. Technically speaking, we've met Veblen's victory condition. However, since it's not actually Veblen's turn, it doesn't count yet. That means, if we look here at turn order, the Grizzar have an opportunity to get out before that happens. So, playing this a bunch, it is intense and dense, and like there's a lot going on, but 90% of the cases, if one Guardian went down, the other would go down, or vice versa. So it's very tactical, sort of explosive play, working towards that first victory condition, and then that player wins, and you can play again. But it's really focused on who can trigger one of those cases first. So really, there are just a few other things to keep in mind. One, team communication. You can talk under the table, secret, out loud, whatever's the most fun. The teams can come up with their own systems to defeat each other. Communications are open. There are some ways that players can work together, other than just working together in the field of combat. One of which is they can share. There's a conversion for rage and power cubes. So if either player has allocated resource, which is in the case of the Foxen, a power cube that's been placed, or in the case of the Grizzar, rage that's now in their bank, they can, on their turn, convert 2 rage to 1 power cube, or 1 power cube to 2 rage, but it's on their turn and they're giving it to that player. So they're not going to, that conversion doesn't, I can't be Foxen and call out to the Grizzar and say, give me rage. This has to have happened prior. The other note is there needs to be a place for it. So in the case of the Grizzar, there's always room for rage. But in the case of the Foxen, if the Foxen don't have any available spots, they can't take it. You can't trade it. Also, this is true for the Guardians. So the Guardians may, if the Guardians are both using power cubes, pass it back and forth. If they're not, then they aren't able to. So that will come down to what the combination of units is. So that takes you through this page. Again, we're on the last page here. It's really straightforward. There are a number of additional rules. I do think it's worth reading them right before you play, but just a couple specific things, both in sort of that collaborative fun perspective. Guardians may mend each other. So you can't break any mending rule if something's not allowed to be mended, but the Tanthos can use their Tanthos' mend to mend Veblen and vice versa. Critical, useful skill. At the same time, if Tanthos and Veblen are in the same ground space, and a Foxen or Grizzar unit is on one of them and uses a leap, they may leap directly to the bottom starting point on the other one. So I could be in shock on Tanthos, they're in the same spot right now, leap down to Skitter, which is also very, very useful. Really, I think those are the biggest ones. There's, again, a couple little call-outs for specific units. Also, banding is shared. So, if you're used to playing with the Foxen leader who, is defended when banded, if the leader is with the other Grizzar, they all get, work together and this is a banded group. So that also comes into play. That's it. Again, couple specifics on the front, couple specifics on the back, like how does Grax Tribute work, things like that. But otherwise, you just have at it and see who can survive. And it's intense, and I think it's pretty awesome. So, this is Battle for Boar.